Hi guys, hope all of us are doing fine. My name is Ernest and this is Ernest Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. In my discussion today, I'm going to look at stages in a statistical investigation. And this, of course, are going to entail specific activities which are going to be taken in treatment of this specific numerical information in order for it to be efficiently used in decision making. Now, in this case, it's going to involve a range of 5 activities which I'm going to mention in terms of collection. Now, from a specific definition of the concept of statistics, I mentioned that it's a science of collecting, analyzing, presenting, and perhaps organizing data. And this, of course, the first activity is going to involve a collection of data. And then we're going to see that the second activity is going to involve organizing or organization of this specific data. And then next is going to be followed by presentation of data. And therefore, that's going to be involving analysis of this particular data. And lastly, we're going to see that the concept of inference is going to be involved at this specific last stage. Now, in a sense, if you try to look at this in an individual way, we can be able to elaborate on the various activities which have been listed. Now, from the concept of collection, this basically involves a range of activities which is going to involve some measurements and gathering of information, which basically is raw data on which this investigation is going to be, of course, relying on. And this is going to be done using various means, which of course we can list a few. And the collection of data can be done using perhaps personal interviews. We can interview individuals in order to collect data, and then we can involve the concept of perhaps telephony. Now, in this case, we can perform an aspect of a telephony interviews, or what we refer to as telephony surveys. And in some cases, we can involve the concept of questionnaires, which are going to assist us collect appropriate data which we are going to require. Now, in a sense, of course, we can involve the concept of using perhaps the technology like sending of questionnaires through mails, and that's going to entail the concept of collection of some of these data, which is a preliminary process in trying to perform this statistical investigation. And next, we're going to look at the concept of organizing this specific data which has been collected. And of course, this is going to entail a range of activities as I mentioned. Now, in the concept of organizing basically involves the concept of summarizing this data in some meaningful ways. And this can be done in terms of tables or a tabular form, which is going to be, of course, efficient for us in trying to interpret the trends of this, or the specific characteristic of this specific type of data that we're going to investigate. So after collection, we're going to organize this data in terms of summarizing it in terms of perhaps a tabular form, and that's going to assist us in trying to create some meaningful information from this specific set of data. The next, we're going to see that the concept of presentation is going to be involved, and this basically entails the concept of reorganizing this specific data in a form that is going to be, of course, entailing a data that can be represented in a meaningful way. And this basically involves the concept of compilation. This is compilation, which basically entails compiling. I've talked about the concept of reorganizing. And of course, there are some of the activities which can be done, such as classification of this specific data. And this is going to be overall assisting us in making a meaningful summary of this data, which can be used in and be presented in a meaningful way. And this is going to entail the concept of a presentation. Now, this is going to form a third bit of this specific procedure from collection, organizing, and presentation, which entails summarizing information in terms of compiling, or reorganizing, and classifying some of this data in a meaningful format. Now, of course, we're going also to see that that's going to be followed by the concept of analysis. And in analysis, in this particular case, basically refers to getting some meaningful information or relevant information from this specific form of summarized data. And of course, this is going to be done using some of the basic mathematical operations which we have perhaps mentioned in one way or another in some of our videos. And this basically is going to be involving trying to perform some of the operations on this summarized or reorganized form of data in order to find meaning from it. Now, this of course is going to be a process which is going to be very essential, and this is going to be assisting us in trying to make some of the inferences or interpretation or further observation of these various statistical data that we have collected. Now, in a sense, the combination of these 5 processes are going to entail the stages, various stages of a statistical investigation, and they're going to assist us in trying to treat some of the raw data which we have collected, and of course come up with an overall way of making a meaningful decision from this specific set of data. Now, basically in our next video, then therefore we're going to look at some of the broader ways of perhaps these mathematical operations which is going to be involved in trying to do some treatment of data, and that's going to form a basis for us in trying to come up with some of the terminologies that I'm going to introduce in my subsequent videos. So that is it for now, guys. Bye, God bless you. Catch us in our next video.